Hello chess friends and welcome to Azarov's Chess channel and welcome to another great game of the Legends of Chess tournament in 2020. It's Liren versus Jan Nepomniachtchi, so the third ranked player against the fourth ranked player. Jan Nepomniachtchi may be in a better shape. Liren is playing not so well. Also in some previous tournaments he had some troubles, and in the first game a Scotch game was played, and the Scotch game is really an aggressive opening because you have already a dynamic center position. You have already clash immediately from move 1, and that's why I decided to show you this game. In my opinion, this was maybe the best game so far. So here Jan Nepomniachtchi played with the white pieces and Liren with the black pieces. So e4 by Jan, we have knight e5 by Liren, knight to f3, knight to c6, and now d4, the Scotch game. So after e takes d4, knight takes d4, knight to f6, knight takes c6, we have b takes c6. After d takes c6, of course, we can simply trade off the queens. Here, after the move b takes c6, we have now the common move e5. And here we have the so-called Mieses variation of this Scotch game. In the game, Liren tried queen to e7 and now queen to e2. Knight to d5, of course, and now c4. Bishop to a6, still common theory. You cannot take the knight, of course, because of the pin by the bishop on the queen. We have now h4, the most aggressive way here by Jan Nepomniachtchi. Very risky move. Most of the times you see some healthy developing moves, maybe even g3, but h4, great attacking move here. Jan Nepomniachtchi goes all in and really challenges now the third ranked player Liren. So in the game f6 was played and now rook to h3. Queen takes e5 is not good, of course. We'll simply take and then we'll unpin ourselves sort of after trades of queens. Then after that we can simply take the knight, so that's why black is forced to take f takes e5, but now bishop to g5, and it's already very risky for Liren. What to do? He tried knight to f6 in order to cover with the knight, and now comes a rook to e3. Here comes, I believe, the first inaccuracy by Liren. He played the move d6. A better way is to play queenside castling here, simply leaving the pawn hanging, because after rook takes e5, here queen to b4 is a good move. You cannot cover with the bishop. If you cover with knight bishop to d2, then you lose your b pawn. So white would be forced here to play knight to c3. But I believe that here in this position, black has solved all of the positional problems. Although you have castled a little bit into your weakened pawn structure, of course you have double pawns here, but I believe that the black king is not endangered here. Here we have still a great attacking possibility against this pawn. We could maybe even try now d5, cracking the position in the center immediately. Here Liren missed, I believe, at least a better continuation. He played the move d6, and this gives Jan Nepomniachtchi now the immediate opportunity to attack. He played simply queen to f3, getting out of the spin with preparations to play knight to c3, really challenging now. And also the main idea would be sort of here to play maybe something like c5 to split the pawns. Then if d takes c5 happens, then of course the e5 pawn would be a very weak one. In the game e4 played by Liren, this move queen to f3 was also sort of a provocative move, forcing Liren to play the move e4 and now queen to d1. Here I believe Jan tricked a little bit Liren, because after the move d5 we have now knight to c3. If you take, for instance, bishop takes c4, then bishop takes c4 will happen, d takes c4. You see now the pawn structure, although you're maybe some pawns up, but these are triple pawns. This is a weakness. We can now immediately take knight takes e4 and it's game over here. If you get with the queen somewhere, knight takes f6 will happen. You cannot take with the knight, of course, because of the pin. The bishop is blocked out. It's game over here for black. So that's why after the move knight to c3, bishop to b7 was played by Liren, and now comes c takes d5. After c takes d5, we have bishop takes f6, queen takes f6, but now knight takes d5. And here comes the critical moment of the game, because bishop to b4 so far is not possible. The knight is covering that square. And here after bishop takes d5, a mistake would have been here if you take queen takes d5, but that was not Jan Nepomniachtchi's opening preparation. Queen takes d5 is not good because bishop to b4 will happen, and black will find a way to activate his pieces. Here, I'm not sure if this is a part of Jan Nepomniachtchi's preparation, but it was really a great move, bishop to b5. So far, sacrificing a piece. If you try c6, then you get, of course, queen takes d5. If you take c takes b5, then you lose the rook. Also, rook takes e4 is a tactical threat. You see how the queen and the bishop are creating very, very nice pressure here against black's king. So that's why after the move bishop to b5, bishop to c6 was played by Liren, but now rook takes e4. You cannot take again because of the pin. You have to cover somehow in the game. Bishop to e7 was played, and now comes a similar idea, queen to d5. Great attacking moves here by Jan Nepomniachtchi. A bishop to b4 idea doesn't work anymore because now you see these problems of blacks are, of course, you cannot include more pieces in the attack. Bishop to b4, the rook is covering that square, but even if that rook wouldn't cover the square, still we could have opportunities to hide with our king to f1, because now the bishop is not on f1. Now we have sort of an escape route for the king. I'm telling you this because this escape route will be a very important one in the continuation of the game, so that's why it was very important to activate the bishop in an early stage of the game. After the move queen takes d5, we have rook to d8, and now bishop takes c6. So there are now many light square problems here for for Ding Liren. King to f8 has to be played, and now queen to c4. Jan Nepomniachtchi attacks further the light squares. We have a bishop to d6, and now rook to d1. We have g6, and now rook to d3. The idea is, of course, to play rook to f3. This could be losing game immediately for black, so that's why Ding Liren had to escape with king to g7, and now rook to f3. If you try something like, I don't know, queen takes b2, it doesn't bring you so much. You see this rook will come to f7. You have only one square, h6. Then we could open somehow the h file. So it's not a good choice to go for this poison pawn here. Black has to defend here first, then maybe to try to some counter-attack possibilities. But it's already a winning evaluation here for white. So queen takes b2 anyway was played, but now rook to f7. You see, Ding Liren didn't find better ways into the game. King to h6 had to be played, and now we have this tactical threat. It's the move g4. g5 is the idea, and then followed with bishop to f3 leads into a checkmate. So this is now Jan Nepomniachtchi's checkmate pattern that he has created. He has cut off, first of all, the 7th rank. Combined with the pawn, he's trying to get this check and then somehow attack the light squares with the queen or with the bishop. In the game, queen to b1, but not a problem. Here, king to e2. Here, Jan Nepomniachtchi found really this great escape route. We have bishop to b4. You can maybe take this pawn, pardon me, the bishop here, but then you risk some queen to d1 ideas. In the game, Nepo tried the natural move, rook to d4, simply forcing a trade of rooks, never allow more attackers that Ding Liren could bring into the game. After rook to e8, we have now king to f3, and now it seems that maybe something went wrong for Jan, because queen to h1 happened, but now queen to g3. Here, very nice tactics played by Jan. If you try bishop takes d6, here is the problem. We can simply take. You see, your queen is still hanging. Again, we have the same tactical threat. So far, no checks are possible. You have to react with the queen, and in the game, queen to g1 played by Ding Liren. But now, after a king to h3, no more checks are possible. That's the main problem here. If you take the rook, for instance, here, it's not a problem because you get first g5. Let's see this very nice checkmate. After king to h5, we have rook to h7, and it's game over. So you see, black doesn't have this tempo possibilities. Black doesn't have good counter-attack possibilities because there are no tactical threats here against white's king. In the game, rook to e3 played by Ding Liren, which was sort of a desperate try to maybe do some perpetuals, but Jan Nepomniachtchi simply takes. F takes e3, queen takes e3, and now bishop to f3. In this position, Ding resigned because, again, rook takes d4 again will happen. G5 followed with rook to h7. So great attacking game by Jan Nepomniachtchi. Great opening preparation. I'm sure that it's something homemade, sort of, that he has analyzed this Scotch game very well at home. So far, Jan played a great tournament. Ding Liren has now 2 losses, so I'm not sure what's going on with Ding. he's supposed to be maybe the favorite to even win this tournament. But okay, we'll see what will happen in the continuation of the tournament. So far, in my opinion, this was really one of the best games so far. If you want to see more games from this tournament, check out my link here. So far, I have analyzed 3 games. And if you want to see the best chess games of all time, you can also check out my best chess games of all time series. And if you like this content, you can also subscribe to my channel. See you soon with some more videos, and chess is the best, of course.